It's got to be quick.
No, we got to you quick.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Right. All right, how's everybody doing tonight? Welcome to Venice Cafe, where we're losing performers. You guys want to come up, please sign up. It's a great mic. I try and do comedy. You know what? The funny thing is, you can identify something, doesn't mean you're a good one. I'm actually really bad. I'm not funny at all. You're not supposed to laugh at that. Stop it. Well, I actually have to note this. I'm actually finally getting sponsorship now for my comedy. It's a company in Utah. Yeah. Doug's Dildo Den. For all occasions. For personal use. For dating. For funerals, maybe. Doug's Dildo Den. Because we're family. Moving on. That was worth $10. I got $10 out of comedy just now. It was great. Furthermore, well, personally for me, I started doing comedy because I previously worked with kids as a martial art instructor. And right now, I'm working with kids as a behavior technician. Kind of a therapist, kind of a teacher, but it's a 40-hour class, so it's easy to get into. But what you get is 4 hours of working with kids one-on-one, which is pretty exciting. But I get all types. For me, the bigger the better. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny when you have a little 3-year-old want to wrestle you every time you come to work. It's a lot better if you have a 15-year-old doing it. Dude, they know how to throw down. They're smart. Yeah. Well, okay, like, I like to think of it like this. I'm working with kids with anger. Because when you're a kid, anger's funny. Have you ever seen somebody get mad on stage?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like get really angry and punch somebody? Yeah, it happened recently. That's fucking terrible. I have a message with that. If you cannot take bombing in stride while it's happening and after the fact, you need to fail on stage more often. 100%. But back to my point, with anger. Because actually that's a funny thing. I always run into people who hate kids, and what I quickly realize is they're kind of the kid in most situations. Yeah. Everybody has to be really sensitive to their feelings and emotions because they're the ones who technically don't have emotions, but really we're all like on pins and needles and what's going to happen. I am not good with doing that with adults when they're sober. Hence why I'm talking to you now. Hopefully, is everybody getting drinks?
Yeah.
Drinks on you for the house. Yeah, there you go. But I had a hard week. But I had a good day. I actually got a raise today. Yeah. But when you annoy kids enough to decide to make friends with others, it's a plus. They see it as a strength. It's great. But what happened to me was I have a kid that it's been going away like fantastic for months. He went from like only being in the home to now like going to a clinic, actually going out and experiencing new behavior, or like, you know, that's the thing in therapy. I should say new games, new ways of experiencing the world. But at the same time though, I realize when you work with children with autism, it's an issue of comorbidity. Nobody is just one thing. Like me, I'm not just a comic. I'm also an asshole. But with these kids, it's like not only are they autistic, they're also human beings. Snaps. But furthermore, they can also have ADHD. They can also have schizophrenia. They can have bipolar disorder. They can have anything. Just because you're diagnosed with one thing does not imply that's the limit of your problems. And sometimes they intermingle together. When you have autism, from my experience, it's like a sense of rigidity. You constantly want to do the same thing, but you also have ADHD, and you hate doing the same thing over and over again. Now throw in a little instance of not being able to talk. And it percolates, it gets bad. Came to a point, wasn't quick enough to open a lid for him. He was angry, I wasn't looking at him. Now think of that concept. Do you have a loved one that you always have to have in eyesight? Or maybe are you dating somebody, you always have to have an eyesight to make sure they're not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to get personal. But with these kids, it's like you're trying to wean them off of that aspect. And what I ran into was he expected me to be looking and knowing what he needed. And I throw it on me. It was my fault. His response was like, in my opinion, kind of like a little harsh. But he like headbutts me. It happens. It really does happen. The biggest thing is I prefer it to be B than my coworkers. I am one of the few guys who works there in a field that's dominated by women. I prefer to get headbutts. But there's an issue there. I came up in martial arts where I used to get like elbowed in the face, punched in the face, and I'd have like a black eye, and I feel like that's a sense of strength. It's like, yeah, I fought somebody. But then when you're working with kids, I never want to have a fucking black eye from a kid and have to work with him again and have him to see that, that happened. Also, I don't like kids juking me out and like manning me up randomly after meeting him, because he did that a few times afterwards. He came up to me. It's like, and I all chilled out. It was all good, but like, he would come up to me, he's like, oh, and I was like, oh, and he's like, and he laughed at me. But that was the best part, because it was just like, okay, I see it as this. Like, I do comedy, then I also work with kids, but it all comes down to, it's like laughter is a release of tension. You shouldn't do it too early when they're angry, people who are dating. Don't make jokes yet. But after the fact, make a joke about what happened. It's sometimes the best fucking catharsis any relationship you have with anybody, even if you're not dating, even if it's a friendship. But I'm going to end with that. Thank you very much. My name is Richard Slogan.
What's up, Scotty? Oh, you got me.
Yeah.